Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. So just a few days ago, I kind of had an itch to do some Barrows runs. So today I'm going to be doing 100 Barrows chests, but I wanted to mix it up a little bit. Normally I do it with a toxic trident. However, today I wanted to try it with a smoke battle staff and a Tome of Fire. And I'm not really sure which one is actually quicker, so that is kind of what I want to test today. So this is not the absolute best setup, but it is using a fair bit of maxed gear. We're using full ancestrals, a smoke battle staff, we're using a tormented bracelet, and a cult necklace, and most importantly the Tome of Fire. The Tome of Fire will increase the max hit of any fire spell by 50%, which at Barrows is really important as the only thing that really matters is your max hit. They have such low magical defense that your accuracy is not that important, so the only thing that will help you do Barrows quicker is just doing more damage. We are also bringing a ranged switch with just a blowpipe, god d'hide, an accumulator, and a salve amulet eye. That is for when we're killing the skeletons in the tunnel. So what are the pros and cons of using this setup versus just the standard Trident of the Swamp setup? So first, let's start off with the cons. I'm going to be using Fire Wave, and Fire Wave is about 100 GP more expensive than one cast of the Toxic Trident. That is because the Tome of Fire costs around 280 GP per cast, and the Blood Rune is about 350. So that comes up to around 600 to 650 depending on the prices, and the Toxic Trident is only around 530 per cast. One thing I didn't really notice until I was halfway through making the video is that pretty much everything that's not a Trident attacks at a slightly slower attack speed for when you're casting the spell. For some reason, the Toxic Trident and the Trident of the Seas actually attack at a quicker attack speed. Well, you'll learn something new every day. So now let's move on to the pros of using this setup. Now I think ideally you'd be using Fire Surge, as Wrath Runes aren't actually that much more expensive and your max hit would be absolutely insane with this setup. So one of the major pros is you will actually be getting a substantial amount of magic experience. Not a lot, but around 35k an hour, which over like 10 hours will actually add up, especially when you're doing a money making method. That in comparison to the Trident of the Swamp is quite a big difference because you almost get no experience for casting the Trident, as there's actually no base experience for using the cast. It's only based on the damage that you do, so you get quite a bit less. On top of that, my max hit is considerably lower without using a magical boosting potion or the imbued heart. I think my max hit is about 33 or 32. In comparison with this setup is 39, and that doesn't require any boosting because that only applies to the Trident. So it's a fairly significant difference. We're going to test this out for 100 Barrows kills, and I'm going to give my opinion on it at the end. Anyway guys, hope you enjoy, and let's get started with the kills. Okay, so we're going to buy 100 Barrows teleports. That's going to be my preferred method of going there. It's just worth doing it. They're only 2.7k and is way more convenient than any other method. We also had to go ahead and buy a bunch of burnt pages. We'll keep track of how many casts on average I will use for that. I don't think I'm going to use all 500 of these, but I want to have it filled up regardless, and we'll just subtract that from the end total. Now I started off using Torags for a little bit, but then I decided to go switch Ancestral onto here. Okay, so for the Fire Wave spell, it'll be using Blood Runes, and I'll be getting more Blood Runes back from Barrows than I will from the cast, so we'll keep that in mind. The actual cast of Fire Wave will be covered from the Blood Runes we get back, so we won't be needing to subtract any Blood Runes at the end. So I have completed the Mauritania Hard Diaries, so I will be getting 50% more runes from the chests, and I would recommend anyone who's going to do a substantial amount of Barrows runs should do that diary as well. So far my kills are taking between 3 and 5 minutes. It really depends on the runs, but I am shredding through these Barrows brothers extremely quickly. I really do like the Tome of Fire setup because your max hit is so high. I think the kill speeds are probably pretty similar so far. I will reassess at the end, as Barrows runs can take a varying degree of time because your dungeon downstairs can be unfavorable often and it'll take you a while to run through that, but generally 3 to 5 minutes. I always like finishing with a rim. I find that when he is last, my runs end up being the quickest for whatever reason. Okay, this is Barrows chest number 15 or something. There it is, the Arim's robe skirt. That's actually, I think, the most valuable Barrows piece. Yeah, it used to be worth so much more, but still, I think that's probably 2 mil. The Arim's robe skirt is worth about 2 mil on the nose. So let's go ahead and deposit this. We'll create a new tab for my Barrows gear, and yep, chuck it in there. All right, so that is a pretty good start. Unfortunately, no back-to-back, but there's 226 death runes. I'll take that. We're on chest number 377. I'm really not sure why raccoons always go through my garbage during the day, but oh, nice. Durox plate legs on chest at number 379, I believe. I think these are kind of a mid-tier value, maybe around 300 to 400k. Oh, never mind, they're worth quite a bit more. 1.2 mil for the chest and 1.1 mil for the Duroc plate legs. It's actually probably one of the more valuable items now. I remember when the Guthan's War Spear was like 6 mil or something like that. Well, those are two pretty decent items. All right, next up here we got a bunch of junk and some bolt racks. All right, 338 Chaos Runes. Really starting to stack up here. Next chest coming in at 108 Death Runes and somehow still bolt racks. What the hell? I'm going for 88% every time, so that should reduce the amount of bolt racks. All right, next chest here. Oh, God. That is the worst chest I've ever had, I think. 2,100 coins. All right, we're on chest like 380 something, and there we go. Duroc's plate body, that's got to be worth at least a mil. Okay, well, it's worth pretty much 1 mil. Should really look up the value of these items. They are so much different than when I recall doing this in the past. And did I just disconnect and die? And it's gone. So I think on average, my runs are taking about 4 minutes. My quickest one so far was like 2 minutes and 45 seconds. I am timing the odd one. The longer ones take like 5 minutes. And again, that really has to do with your bottom puzzle. If you spawn in a non-advantageous room, it can take a minute just to get through that part. The top section of Barrows generally takes about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. That's pretty consistent, not much variation there. So I think I'm probably doing somewhere between 12 and 15 Barrows chests an hour, which is pretty decent. I think the most I've ever done in an hour was like 16. Once you get maxed magic and maybe using Fire Surge or even the Toxic Trident, I know it's possible to get between 15 and 20. But you really have to be trying hard, and I think 15 would be a good goal to shoot for. Okay, that's decent enough. About 40 chests in, we got a Varrock's helmet. Not the most valuable Barrows drop, but I mean, I'll take it. What's it worth right now? 200k maybe? It's actually probably one of the worst ones. I think the flail may even be worth more now. All right, chest number 45 or something like that, and the Varrock's flail. Okay, now we actually get to see which one's more inexpensive. And I don't know. The flail may actually be worth slightly more. Both are pretty shit, unfortunately. But to be fair, my first 3 items were decently valuable, so I'm pretty happy in general. Okay, so that was a pretty long dry streak, but we finished it off with an Arim's robe skirt, which again, I think is the most valuable item. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think we got 6 items in total. I believe, yeah, 6. And that's pretty much right spanking on the average that we should have gotten. Usually get one every 17 chests, and doing 100, you're going to get somewhere between 5 and 7 on average. All right, so we finished up the 100 kills. Let's go ahead and add up how much money we made, what our costs were, and just final thoughts on this setup in general. So how much money did we make doing this? How long did it take? What were our costs? We're going to go over that quickly here. First up here, this took me about 8 hours, which is averaging around 12 to 13 chests per hour, which is pretty good. Pretty similar to using a trident for myself. I think it is possible the trident might be slightly quicker than Fire Wave. However, using Fire Surge would definitely be quicker, I believe. And on top of that, you'd be getting even more magic experience. So I was averaging around 35k magic experience an hour, which got me almost a full magic level. In total, I got about 280k magic experience, which has a fairly substantial value to it. I would say 300k magic experience is worth at least 1 mil, but anyway, that's kind of up to yourself. So 8 hours for 100 chests. What were my costs? Well, the Barrows teleports costed me 266k. I used about 3,000 Zulrah scales, which is worth around 550k. We also used around 3,000 charges on the Tome of Fire, which was worth around 880k, and the prayer potions were worth around 70k. So in total, about 1.8 mil in costs for 8 hours. Okay, so now let's see how much money we made here. We had the 2 Arim's robe skirts, which were worth around 2 mil a pop, which is quite nice. The Varrock's helm, the Duroc's blade body, the Duroc's plate leg, and the Varrock's flail. I would say this is pretty average. We got a little bit lucky getting these 2 items twice, but we also got some of the least valuable ones as well, and we pretty much got the average, which was to be expected, at around 6 items. Okay, so now, like I said in the beginning, we have blood runes, and we only have 3.7k of them. And that's because we were using blood runes as our spell, and we did start with 2,000 blood runes, so we're going to take that off. These are all excess blood runes that we earned through just doing Barrows. We got 40,000 mind runes. We got 12,000 death runes, worth almost 3 mil right there. And we got 17,000 chaos runes, and also about 120k cash and 500 and 66 bolt racks. So in total, we got about 11.8 mil from doing all these runs. So if we take off our costs, we're looking at about 10 mil and 72k, or just average down to about 10 mil, which means on average, we got about 1.2 mil an hour doing this method and about 35k an hour magic experience, which I think is the main benefit here. So what do I think about this method? Personally, I like it because I do enjoy actually getting some experience for once. Getting the magic experience is pretty valuable, and once you get 95 magic, Fire Surge would probably get you like 45k or even 50k magic experience an hour, and I think you could probably hit in the high 40s with that spell, which I think would be really fun. So yeah, I would recommend it if you're looking for something fun to do. At worst, it's just a little bit slower. Anyway guys, that's gonna be it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. If you like this type of video, definitely leave it a like. Thanks for watching guys, and I will see you next time.